Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome to Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. And hey, I got a great story for you guys today. I'm going to actually give you an update to a crazy story that I was talking about not too long ago about Raja Jackson, who's the son of the legendary former MMA UFC fighter Rampage Jackson, Quinton Rampage Jackson. And so what happened was Raja Jackson was in a wrestling promo, a wrestling fight, actually, pro wrestling fight, with a guy by the name of Syko Stu for Knock X Wrestling. And ultimately, what was supposed to be a scripted fight turned into a brutal onslaught of horror. I'm trying to put the right words together, guys. There's no easy way to say this. What happened was apparently
You don't know
Psycho
me?
Stu
Hell no.
threw a beer can, which it just landed on the side of Raja's head. And they were just kind of squaring off, and you would think that it was kind of part of the promo, and they're like, come on, let's go, let's go. And then they got into the ring. Well, Psycho Stu was in the ring, and then Raja comes in and just takes him down and just gives him a barrage of like 20 punches, actually, shall I say, right to his head. Where ultimately Psycho Stu was coughing up on his own blood and teeth. It was absolutely gory and horrific to watch. And then Psycho Stu had to be taken to the hospital where he was in critical care. Now, he remained stable, which is a good thing, but apparently he's still in the hospital. Now, there's been a lot of fallout when it comes to this. I mean, you have the WWE that had some kind of affiliation with KnockX Wrestling, and they just quickly took off. A lot of other heat, a lot of former fighters, both on the UFC, boxers, wrestlers, a lot of people kind of chiming in on their take on what they think and what they felt happened. Raja should have exercised some constraints, some control for him to unleash a flurry of 20 punches, like ground and pound style, to a military veteran who clearly was caught off by surprise, and he looked like he was unconscious as these fights were raining down on him. Was absolutely horrific. And then you have Quinton Rampage Jackson, on the defense, and he's you have to understand from a father's perspective. Obviously, he's got to protect his son. But at the same time, he's kind of like at a loss of words. He's not really 100% sure or certain as to what exactly he needs to do. It's terrible. It's terrible. He's like, I'd hate to be a father in that situation where something of this situation happens, and it's just bad. Like, I mean, you can't defend, you can't condone what Raja did in the ring. That it was horrible. It was absolutely unacceptable. Okay, but at the same time, as a father, this is where it's tough. It's a very, very tough situation, right? So I get it from both sides, but look, as I was talking about the fallout. This is big, guys. A lot of like sponsorship deals, and a lot of people are cutting their affiliations and ties, with the indie wrestling organization. The LAPD is involved. They're doing an investigation. So I mean, the story just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier. And so, I mean, the long and short of it is now, like as I mentioned, there's a lot of celebrities and a lot of like influencers, fighters, from both MMA, the world of MMA, UFC, boxing, wrestling. They're all kind of coming out and giving their take on things. Mr. Beast has come out and he said he's going to support Psycho Stu and help pay for any kind of medical bills, and apparently he's raised about $190,000 with a GoFundMe account, out of which $10,000 he donated himself. Chris Jericho, a very popular wrestler with the AEW and possibly WWE. I mean, he's been rallying the troops and getting a lot of his peers together to try to raise funds. So this is crazy. So this happened at a KnockX Pro Wrestling live show. Unfortunately, things went horribly wrong with this promo. Raja was honestly supposed to just perform a basic scripted spot. Is very standard, and just a takedown and really just some kind of like light punches. But he snapped. And what turned out to be just kind of like a takedown and maybe just a few punches turned into a flurry of 20 shots to Psycho Stu's head, as he lied there unconscious, bleeding through his mouth and like, coughing up blood and teeth. It was absolutely horrific to watch. Eyewitnesses that were there said Raja slammed Stuart Smith, better known as Syko Stu, right to the mat. Like, so he didn't even just like a takedown. He like kind of slammed him, and I think that's perhaps maybe when he became unconscious. And then he unleashed a violent flurry of real punches right to the head. I mean, the scene was so brutal, and I seen it. It was horrible, but yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good by any stretch, right? To the point where LAPD was called in, a report was filed, and now there's an active investigation into the whole thing. Potential felony for assault with a deadly weapon. Syko Stu isn't he's not just any kind of wrestler. He's a U.S. Army veteran who's been using pro wrestling as a way to cope with PTSD, and so this is his means to be able to earn an income. Now, obviously. Sure, there's a lot of different things that Stu could have done, but this is what he chose as his career, and it was supposed to be a promo, a scripted match, or a promo, shall I say, a spot, they call it, and it turned out to be probably his worst nightmare. And this wasn't entertainment by any means. Obviously, it was absolutely very difficult, and it was hard to stomach. It was really hard to watch, and unfortunately, as he's recovering in critical recovery, he's got massive medical bills that keep stocking up, right? So again, the world of sports entertainment is rallying behind him in a big way. As I mentioned, his GoFundMe account is at $190,000, and kudos to guys like YouTube legend and a mega influencer, Mr. Beast, who's dropped $10,000 donation himself, which is great. And then I talked about the likes of Chris Jericho, Nick Namath. There's a lot of people having kind of showing up and stepping up, and the outpouring of support continues to amass and grow day by day. This incident has not only shaken up the world of sports entertainment, but really shaken up the community where NockX Wrestling does a lot of their events in Los Angeles. Now, the big question really comes down to is what happens to Rampage Jackson after this, right? The LAPD investigation could honestly lead to severe legal consequences, especially since this wasn't really part of the show, but it was a legitimate assault. And for that, they do have to investigate that. Now, as for Stu, while the donations continue to pour in, which is absolutely incredible, recovery is going to be very long and very tough. Now, the good news is with the level of sport he has, he's not going to have to face this alone. So we're happy to hear that he's stable and he's recovering, but this is going to be a long road of recovery and rehab for Syko Stu. So the story is very tragic. It's a reminder of how powerful combat sports and entertainment communities can be when they come together. Stu's fight, isn't over by a long stretch, but at least for now, he's got an army of supporters behind him. And then for Raja, he's a young guy, like a serious up and coming talent. But this is not the way you want to leave an impression on the world of sports entertainment, and especially in the mixed martial artist community. I mean, this is not the kind of attention you want. The fact that you're already the son of a legend, right? Rampage Jackson, that puts a target on you, that puts a bullseye on you. So, right, there's a level of expectation now for you to perform. And everything is going to be scrutinized, how like everything from his social media to where he goes, what he does, and people are going to be watching him like a hawk. And this only adds to the fear. It's only going to actually make things worse for Raja, because now, there's a lot of bad publicity that's not only being put on Raja, but also put on his father, right? Quinton Rampage Jackson. And he's out there obviously talking about how he's really disappointed in his son and what he did, and he doesn't condone his behavior, but at the same time, he's his father, right? And he's going to have to work with Raja to try to figure out what triggered him. I have another video that's coming out, and Rampage actually talks about how Raja never really recovered from his mom's murder. And so there's a lot of, I mean, this story goes pretty deep. And so, I mean, people shouldn't go out there and go after Raja and try to make his life like a living hell. And they shouldn't be saying like, there's a lot of negative comments that are kind of going out there. I mean, look, the fact of the matter is he did something that was absolutely wrong. And there's a strong possibility that Raja might face some prison time for this attack. But now whether he has some post trauma, how that kind of plays into the case and how that unfolds, I mean, that's a different conversation, guys. And those are things that could potentially kind of come out. I don't have all the answers to that right now, but I mean, it's hard to kind of keep it respectful when we're talking about combat sports, right? And the way Raja pummeled, Stu, it was a gross mismatch. You've got an MMA fighter who honestly shouldn't have even been in that ring, and you got Syko Stu, who's a former military veteran, and he's suffering through health issues himself, like PTSD and stuff, and he's an older guy and stuff like that. This was supposed to be just a spot. It was supposed to be a promo. Kind of like an exhibition type promo, and it turned out again to be Syko's worst nightmare, and not only for Syko but for the promotional organization for KnockX Wrestling, because a lot of backlash has been coming on them, and how they recover from this. I mean, I don't even know if they can recover from this. But there's a lot of fighters that have been affected by this, right? So it's not just these two individuals. There's a whole community of people and wrestlers and athletes and people behind the scenes, who make a living, doing the operations, all the like from the video camera to all their operations, the back end operations to the admin staff. There's a lot of people that have been affected by this, so it's really sad. So what are your thoughts? Should Raja face prison time for his attack? Should people just kind of overlook it because he's a young guy who's kind of struggling through some things? It really hard to say. So, but this is a conversation that's going to continue to ensue and continue to grow. And it's good to see that there's a lot of people like Josh Donaldson, like Mr. Beast, and a lot of other notable athletes and people in the world of MMA and the world of fighting kind of coming together and rallying behind Stu and helping him out with his recovery. So don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and join us here on Duality 7X for more fight news, UFC drama, and stories that shake up the combat sports world. Thank you for joining us. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day.